Okay, so yesterday we have discussed two types of white fibers, association fiber and commissural fibers. Okay, so today we will discuss about the projection fibers. Okay, so projection fibers, they interconnect the cerebral cortex with the subcortical centers, and they include these two types of fibers, corticofugal fibers and corticopetal fibers. Corticofugal fibers, which originate in the cerebral cortex and go to the subcortical centers, and corticopetal fibers, which reach the cerebral cortex from the subcortical centers. These are the examples: corona radiata, internal capsule, fimbria, fornix. These are the examples of the projection fibers. Okay. Silence everyone. So we will discuss the internal capsule in details. Internal capsule very important for your theory. Long question. Okay, you prepare internal capsule. Its different parts. Practice schematic diagram and the fibers. Fibers passing through the different parts are very important. Okay. Okay. So internal capsule. It is a compact bundle of projection fibers. Location is, it lies between the thalamus and caudate nucleus medially and lentiform nucleus laterally. Okay. And continuation is corona radiata above. The fibers of internal capsule fan out cranially and form the corona radiata. Okay, radiating fibers like the sun rays. Okay, going to different areas of the brain, different functional areas. We'll discuss in our dissection class today, functional areas. Okay. Next is gras cerebri. The fibers of internal capsule approximates inferiorly. So superiorly they are fan out like the corona radiata. And the fibers of internal capsule approximate inferiorly to form the gras cerebri of the midbrain. Okay. Next is the shape. It is a V-shaped in transverse section with concavity is directed laterally. What are the parts? Parts are the consists of these following parts: anterior limb, posterior limb, genu, retrolentiform and sublentiform part. Anterior limb lies between the caudate nucleus and the anterior part of the lentiform nucleus. Lentiform nucleus consists of the globus pallidus and putamen. And posterior limb, it lies between the thalamus and the posterior part of the lentiform nucleus. Okay. Next is the genu. It is the bend between the anterior and posterior limbs. Next is retrolentiform part. It lies posteriorly behind the lentiform nucleus. And sublentiform part lies below the lentiform nucleus at the posterior end of the internal capsule. So these are the parts of the internal capsule. Very important. See here, this is a transverse section through the brain. See this white V-shaped structure. This is the internal capsule. Okay. Anterior horn, genu, posterior horn, and here lies the retrolentiform part and sublentiform part will be below it. Okay. So, and this is the head of the caudate nucleus and this is tail of caudate nucleus and this is thalamus. So, this caudate nucleus and thalamus lies medially and this lentiform nucleus, this part is called lentiform nucleus, it is lying lateral to the internal capsule. Okay, understood? And this bending is known as the genu. See, this is the corona radiata fanning out. The internal capsule is fanning out superiorly to form the corona radiata and going to the different areas of the brain. See here, the internal capsule is lying between the lentiform nucleus laterally and thalamus and caudate nucleus medially. Okay. See this diagram you practice. This is one schematic diagram for internal capsule. Okay. Very important diagram. So these are the different parts have been shown here. This is anterior limb of internal capsule. This bending part is the genu. This is the posterior limb. Here is the sublentiform part and here is the retrolentiform part. Okay, and see the caudate nucleus is related medial to the medial to the internal capsule lies this caudate nucleus and the thalamus, and laterally lies this lentiform nucleus. Lentiform nucleus consists of globus pallidus medially and putamen laterally. Okay, understood? And see here, this sublentiform part, it is connecting the medial geniculate body with the hearing center. Okay, and this retrolentiform part, it is connecting lateral geniculate body to the visual cortex. Lateral geniculate body is responsible for our vision. Okay, it is part of optic pathway, and this is part of auditory pathway, this medial geniculate body. So internal capsule is projection fibers, continuation upward as the corona radiata and below as the crus cerebri. These are the parts, it is V-shaped, it has these following parts: anterior limb, genu, posterior limb, retrolentiform part and sublentiform part. And these are the constituent fibers, these are also very important. Motor fibers are corticopontine fiber. Corticopontine means it will come from all the lobes of the cerebral cortex. So frontopontine, parietopontine, temporopontine, occipitopontine. All these are corticopontine fibers. Next, pyramidal fibers are corticonuclear and corticospinal. And also there are extrapyramidal fibers. So these are the motor fibers of the internal capsule. Next are the sensory fibers. Sensory fibers are anterior thalamic radiation, superior thalamic radiation, inferior thalamic radiation and posterior thalamic radiation. Next is the blood supply. It is supplied by medial and lateral branches of middle cerebral artery, striate branches of anterior cerebral artery, cortical branches of anterior choroidal artery, few direct branch from internal carotid artery, and central branches of posterior communicating artery and posterolateral central branch of posterior cerebral artery. So all these supply the internal capsule. And these arteries are important because there is chance of hemorrhage in case of rupture of this artery, and that will lead to damage to the fibers passing through the internal capsule, and there will be paralysis in the patient. Okay. So in case of stroke patients, you have to consider the involvement of the arteries and that part of the involvement of internal capsule, and it will lead to these types of symptoms. Which fibers are involved, according to the fibers involved, there will be symptoms in the patient. Okay. So lesion of artery of cerebral hemorrhage, which is known as Charcot's artery. Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage, it leads to damage to posterior limb and paralysis of opposite half of body and face. And lesions of recurrent artery of Hubner, it leads to damage to the genu and anterior limb of internal capsule and leads to paralysis of face and upper limb on opposite side. And thrombosis of anterior choroidal artery, it will lead to damage to the posterior limb, sublentiform and retrolentiform part, and it will lead to visual hemiplegia and auditory defects. Okay, visual defects, hemiplegia and auditory defect. So these are the constituent fibers. So corticopontine fiber, pyramidal fiber, extrapyramidal fiber. Corticopontine fibers include coming from all the lobes, frontopontine fibers from frontal lobe to pontine nuclei, parietopontine fiber from parietal lobe to pontine nuclei, occipitopontine fibers from occipital lobe to pontine nuclei, and temporopontine from temporal lobe to pontine nuclei. Pyramidal fibers, they are corticonuclear and corticospinal. Corticonuclear fibers from cerebral cortex to the contralateral motor nuclei of 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th cranial nerves. And corticospinal fibers from cerebral cortex to contralateral anterior horn cells of the spinal cord. Okay. Next is extrapyramidal fibers from cerebral cortex to subcortical nucleus such as red nucleus, substantia nigra, reticular nuclei, olivary nuclei, and so on. So these are the constituent fibers. See here, anterior limb having these motor fibers, frontopontine fiber, and this is sensory fibers, anterior thalamic radiation. Genu have the corticonuclear fibers for head and neck. Okay, and these are the location of corticospinal fiber for other areas. Here is the in the posterior limb. This is location of for upper limb. Here is the trunk, and this is the lower limb. Here is corticorubral fiber. Okay, and these are the sensory fibers are located here. And here is optic radiation. LGB, lateral geniculate body, is connected to optic radiation, and this medial geniculate body is connected to the auditory radiation. This is retrolentiform and this is sublentiform part. And here also lies the paritopontine and occipitopontine fibers. Okay, understood? So these are the locations of different fibers, constituent fibers. So this chart you remember very carefully, okay? Which part includes which fibers. So parts, motor fiber, sensory fiber, and their arterial supply. This is important for different clinical aspects, arterial hemorrhages and others. So anterior limb having frontopontine fiber, motor fiber, and sensory fiber is anterior thalamic radiation. And arterial supply is direct branch from anterior cerebral artery and recurrent branch of anterior cerebral artery. Recurrent artery of Hubner, okay. And genu have motor fibers are the frontopontine and corticonuclear fibers. Sensory fibers are anterior part of superior thalamic radiation, and arterial supply is by direct branch from internal carotid artery and posterior communicating artery. Next we go to posterior limb. Posterior limb have corticospinal fibers, corticopontine and corticorubral fibers. These are motor fibers. And sensory fibers are superior thalamic radiation. Next, these are the arterial supply, lateral and medial straight branches of middle cerebral artery and anterior choroidal artery. Next is sublentiform part. It consists of paritopontine and temporopontine fibers. Sensory fibers are the inferior thalamic or auditory radiation. And these are the arterial supply, posterior cerebral artery, anterior choroidal artery. And retrolentiform part, it has paritopontine and occipitopontine, and posterior thalamic radiation or optic radiation is a sensory fiber, and it is supplied by posterior cerebral artery. Okay, understood? Okay, so this is the arterial supply we will discuss in details. Internal capsule gives passages to large number of fibers through a small zone. Hence, its vascular lesion affects large area of the body, and the internal capsule is supplied by these arteries, medial and lateral branches of middle cerebral artery, straight branches of anterior cerebral, cortical branches of anterior choroidal, few direct branches from internal carotid, central branches of posterior communicating artery, and posterolateral central branch of posterior cerebral artery. These two arteries are important: Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage and recurrent artery of Hubner. Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage is one of the lateral straight branches of middle cerebral artery, and it is a larger branch and more frequently ruptured. And recurrent artery of Hubner is one of the straight branches of anterior cerebral artery, and which is large and takes the recurrent course. Okay. That's why the name is given, recurrent artery of Hubner. Next, so this diagram shows the arterial supply. If arterial supply comes as a short note or part of long question, you have to draw a diagram like this. Okay, practice a schematic diagram. So see, this is internal carotid artery. From here, anterior cerebral and middle cerebral artery is arising. So from the anterior cerebral artery, this is recurrent artery of Hubner. A branch is given to the anterior limb. Okay, and these are direct branch from anterior cerebral artery supplying the anterior limb mainly. Okay, and here this part is genu. It is supplied by this branches direct branch from the internal carotid artery. Okay, and some branch of posterior communicating artery. Genu is supplied by these two. And next there is posterior limb. It is supplied by lateral and medial straight branch and branch from anterior choroidal artery. This is anterior choroidal artery, also branch from internal carotid. So posterior limb is supplied by these three structures: lateral, medial, striate branch and branch from anterior choroidal artery. Next here, this is sublentiform part. It is supplied by branch from anterior choroidal artery and branch of posterior cerebral artery. This is posterior cerebral artery, which is a branch of basilar artery. Basilar artery bifurcates to form this two posterior cerebral artery. Okay, and this is posterior communicating artery connecting the posterior cerebral artery with internal carotid or middle cerebral. Okay, all these arteries together forming the arterial circle of Willis. Okay, and this retrolentiform part, it is supplied by branch of posterior cerebral artery. So this is the arterial supply of the internal capsule. Okay, very important. So lesion of internal capsule, vascular lesions of internal capsules are common, involves rupture of vessels which results in hemorrhage and occlusion or necrosis of some part, and it occurs commonly in medial and lateral branch of middle cerebral artery. Okay, medial and lateral striate branch. These are most commonly involved. So, and effects of this lesion of internal capsule which results in upper motor neuron type of paralysis of opposite half of the body and face. Specific lesion, lesion of artery of cerebral hemorrhage or Charcot's artery, it leads to damage to the posterior limb, leads to paralysis of opposite half of body and face, which will cause common cause for hemiplegia. Next is lesion of recurrent artery of Hubner. It leads to damage to the genu and anterior limb of the internal capsule, and it leads to paralysis of face and upper limb of the opposite side. Next is thrombosis of the anterior choroidal artery. It leads to damage to the posterior limb, sublentiform and retrolentiform part, and leads to visual hemiplegia and auditory defects. Okay, so these are the arteries most commonly involved and their effects of involvement. Okay, understood? These are the important clinical aspects. Next, so we have completed internal capsule. Okay, so you prepare internal capsule as long question, and its arterial supply is also important question. Next is fornix. Fornix is another projection fiber. Okay, so fornix is an arched bundle of projection fibers and from hippocampus to the mammillary body. This is the extent. See this here, it is starting from the hippocampus. This is fimbri of hippocampus. Here is the dentate gyrus, pes hippocampus. All these are parts of hippocampus. Here the fornix is starting as the crus fornix. These two crus are joined here, and here is the commissure of fornix. Okay. This commissure, this is another commissural fibers, hippocampal commissure. Okay. And after that it forms two columns of fornix, and columns of fornix are going towards the mammillary bodies. It is lying along the inferior margin. This body of fornix, crus fornix, columns of fornix, they are lying at the inferior margin of the septum pellucidum. In the previous class you have seen septum pellucidum, which was separating the two lateral ventricles. Okay, so at the inferior margin of septum pellucidum the fornix is lying, and these parts are lying in the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. Okay, in the floor of inferior horn of lateral ventricle, this hippocampus and different parts of this hippocampus. So fornix is an arched bundle of projection fibers from hippocampus to the mammillary bodies, and fornix consists of posterior column or crus fornix. These are the two crus fornix, body and anterior column of the fornix. This is the formation. Fornix is made up of efferent fibers of hippocampus action of the pyramidal cells of hippocampus, it going to alveus. Alveus is the thin sheet of white matter covering the ventricular surface of the hippocampus, and it is forming the fimbria, which is a flat band, and these flat bands are again forming the crus fornix. Okay, so here from this hippocampus, alveus is forming, and from the alveus this fimbria of hippocampus is forming, and from here the crus of fornix is arising. Okay, crus of fornix, it is curved upward behind the thalamus. Next we go to the body of fornix. Crus will go towards the body. Both the crura, right and left, converge in the midline to form the body of the fornix, and it lies above the roof of the third ventricle and below the splenium and the body of the corpus callosum. Okay, yesterday we have discussed corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is connected with the fornix via the septum pellucidum in the midline. Okay. Next we go to commissure of fornix. Few fibers of crura decussate just posterior to the body of fornix as commissure of fornix, also known as hippocampal commissure. This is included within commissural fibers connecting two hemispheres. Okay. Next we go to anterior column of the fornix. Anteriorly, you practice a schematic diagram like this, fornix. Fornix important short note. Okay, fornix can come as a short note. So fornix, anterior column of fornix, these are the anterior columns. Anteriorly, the body of fornix divides downward to the anterior columns, and each anterior column curves downward to the anterior commissure, and it extends through the hypothalamus and ends in the mammillary body. Here it is ending, mammillary body. This column of fornix are ending in this mammillary body, and its few fibers terminate into the septal areas. Okay. What are the functions of fornix? Fornix is the efferent tract of the hippocampus, and these are the clinical integration aspect of fornix. Bilateral damage to the fornix causes inability in consolidation of short-term memory into long-term memory. Short-term memory is not converted into long-term memory in case of lesion of fornix, and this is called acute amnestic syndrome. Okay, understood? Previous memory of the patient is intact, but recent memories will not convert into long-term memories. Okay, understood? So that would be the symptom in the patient. Next. So fornix is a projection fiber of hippocampus to the mammillary body. These are the parts: crus of fornix, body of fornix, commissure, and anterior column. These are the function. This is the function. Form efferent tract of the hippocampus, and lesion, bilateral lesion of fornix will lead to acute amnestic syndrome. Okay, understood? Okay, that's all. So we have discussed two important projection fibers. Also we have seen corona radiata. Corona radiata is upward projection of the internal capsule, and crus cerebri, inferiorly the internal capsule converges to form the crus cerebri. So all those are projection fibers. Okay, understood? So any queries regarding today's topic? So projection, internal capsule, you prepare for your long question. Okay, different parts, constituent fibers, arterial supply, all those are important. And those clinical aspects, Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage and recurrent artery of Huebner, these are important. Explain why question or clinical integration can come as a part of long question. Okay, and fornix is important, short note. Understood? Any queries? And you have to identify these structures, can be given in your OSPI, fimbria and internal capsule in brain sections. You will be shown in the dissection class. Okay? Understood? So everyone today go home and read the different sulci and gyri of the cerebral hemisphere. Okay? The dissection period, we will discuss the functional areas. So you have to name the gyri where the functional areas are located. Okay? So go and read the different sulci and gyri, important sulci gyri of the cerebral hemispheres. Okay. Any other queries? No queries? Okay, that's all. Thank you.